What's up, and welcome back to the Run the North podcast. I am one of your hosts, the Geek Slayer, joined as always by Miller Football. I don't know, man. Jake is busy this week, so it's just the two of us. Today we're going to be going over our top 10 running backs and linebackers, but before we get into that, Miller, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. You know, it's a good day to be a Spurs fan. Not that they've done anything important. It's just always great to be a fan of the San Antonio Spurs and not any basketball teams from the Midwest. That's for sure.
Bro had to pick the most successful basketball franchise of the last 20 years.
I asked Twitter what the NBA equivalent of the Chicago Bears was, and they told me the Spurs.
Which makes no sense. When have the Bears ever had any success, anything like what the Spurs have had fucking ever? NBA Twitter is apparently the dumbest people on the internet.
The 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the first 40 years of the league's existence, actually.
Yeah, when it wasn't the league.
When it was the league.
Nah, because this is the same shit as saying the Celtics are the greatest basketball team of all time because they won 18 of their 20 championships in an era where there were 4 teams in the league. It's
I guarantee there were more than 4.
Yeah, there were 8.
Okay.
It was an exaggeration, but it's still useless.
I forever will despise the idea of discrediting the early days of any league. Is pure ignorance.
It's not discrediting
in my mind.
players, but let's not act like the team had to be that fucking good to beat eight teams.
Still the best in the world?
Well, according to the internet, no, that would be the best in the U.S., but hey.
Yeah, fuck the internet for that, by the way.
Why? They're not wrong.
Because, no, they are. It's always been world. They've always, for every American sport, when they win, they're called world champions.
Doesn't matter.
It's not a new thing. Okay, show me an international team that would beat the Boston Celtics.
I mean, I feel like a lot of teams could beat the Boston Celtics, but I'm just a Celtics hater.
Okay, sure, but like, objectively speaking, show me an international team that could beat the Celtics in a 7-game series.
I don't know, whatever team has Boogie Cousins on it, he just won an MVP. He'd cook them. He'd cook those frauds.
In a league where there's like 8 teams, probably.
No.
Since apparently those leagues don't matter now.
Well, I'm normally on your side when it comes to this argument. I just think we need to argue. I think that's the only thing that makes this show worth watching. So,
yes, I know. I know. That's why I'm feeding into it.
But no, I think, it's not about that. It's just the principle of the matter. They played only U.S. teams. Ayo?
I'm sure there's. Listen, you know what? I'm gonna backtrack that before I go too far off the deep end. But no, like, they're world champions. They've always been world champions. We're not going to start this shit now.
Just because Americans are stupid doesn't mean they're world champions.
My biggest boomer belief, outside of my fullback obsession, is that if you win the championship in a league, you're world champion. Or if you win the championship in the NBA or the NFL, you were a world champion. Because there's not a team in a foreign country that could beat that team in a 7-game series.
But at least for basketball, there are worldwide events that crown actual world champions.
And does the U.S. not win the gold like every time?
Doesn't matter. You're only a world champion if you beat the best in the world, not just the best in America.
The NBA is the best teams in the world. I can guarantee you the Bulls of last year would smoke most international teams.
I promise you they wouldn't.
I promise you they would.
Go watch any other league and how, they can't just get away with doing nothing and crying and getting free throws. NBA players would get bullied.
So what you're telling me is the NBA stopped mattering in the 1990s?
No, I would say it stopped mattering in about 2012, But I know what stupid narrative you're trying to push. It's just an incorrect one.
It's still a narrative that I can push, because if we're stopping at 2012, he didn't have a GOAT case in 2012, buddy.
I mean, yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
He did not have a GOAT case in 2012.
I've made this argument every time. It's like when people crowned Jordan the GOAT the first time he retired. They put up a statue of him after the first three-peat that said greatest to ever do it, when he didn't accomplish shit compared to Kareem or Magic or anybody. But you looked at him and you said, man, that's the best basketball player I've ever seen. Yeah, in 2012, you could look at LeBron and go, man, that's the best basketball player I've ever seen. Miller, you don't understand hoops. You don't get an opinion. You've never watched a basketball game? No opinion. Shut up.
That's not true.
Ugh.
Just because I
Bro's
don't
never
follow
even seen Jordan play, but he's still got the biggest hard-on for him.
live, no, but I have watched many old Bulls games.
You've
When
watched
I was little,
highlights.
No, when I was little and they'd have the Hardwood Classics on the NBA channel, I used to love that shit. I have seen many old Bulls games. I've looked them up on YouTube too. I don't talk about something unless I can back it up or unless I have the knowledge of it. You know that.
Well, I mean, you keep talking basketball.
Just because I don't watch the shitty product
I'm
that
not
comes
even
out
sure
today.
you know what the orange bouncy round whatever is.
Listen, I don't watch the current NBA because it's a dog shit product and it's a corrupt league. But history-wise, I feel like
the
I know what's
NBA
going
is
on.
corrupt, but the NFL could never be. Grow
The
the fuck
NBA's
up.
been a corrupt league since day one.
So is the NFL. You just are a sheep.
No, the NFL isn't rigged. It's way easier to rig a basketball game than it is a football game.
Right.
Call a ticky-tack foul at the rim, and you get an attempt at 2 free points every time.
Choose
Can't do that
not
in
to call a
football.
pass interference that just cost an entire season, or choose to call a pass interference on a play where there is none. Happens literally every game at the end of games. Refs either miss calls or make fake calls. But because it's your glorious football, it could never possibly be a real thing, and it's just incompetence. But for the NBA, we can't plead incompetence. We have to plead bad.
Yeah, because it's been proven that an entire NBA championship series was rigged.
Yeah. Just because nobody's come out and said that an entire Super Bowl was rigged doesn't mean it wasn't.
Where's the proof?
I can think of quite a few people you sound like right now.
Okay.
Ha ha! Got him.
Okay.
Ha ha!
No,
Got
you
him.
didn't get me. You're just stooping to a low level to try to prove your point, and it's ridiculous.
Well, no, it's because you're doing this thing where we can call the NBA refs corrupt and bad, but if you ever say that about an NFL ref, you're an idiot, and that's dumb. That's a bad opinion.
Okay.
Like, you
I'm
you
sorry
just
the
want to have
NBA
it
is
only your
objectively
way.
a worse product.
If
Refs aside, it's a worse product.
if you like football more than basketball, sure.
As a league, it's a worse product.
I mean, is it? I mean, more people like football.
Yeah.
Does that make it a worse
Therefore-
product?
Therefore, NFL better. Mic drop. Move on. This is a conversation that's getting boring.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I mean, you're right. I don't know a lot about the current NBA, so I'm not going to sit here and argue it. But old NBA, I will happily sit and converse about because I do feel like I know quite a bit there. I just don't care enough. I am being slightly facetious and saying it's a bad product, but I just don't like modern basketball. It's not my thing.
Bro doesn't like the 3-point shot.
No, it's
Bro
not
doesn't
that. I
like
just
math.
don't like where the league.
3 greater than 2. Bro doesn't like math.
Where's the middies? I need a real mid-ranged assassin.
In Chicago, his name's DeMar DeRozan.
That's. I like him. I don't like that team anymore, but I like that
him
player.
specifically.
I like him, and I like that Kobe White fella. Everyone else on that team. No, I like Io too. Everyone else on that team is dead to me. Although DeMar probably won't be on the team by the time the season starts. Hopefully.
Yeah, you'll be just rocking Zach LaVine only.
I don't know why you're saying you. I'm not associated with them. They will be. I'll be rocking Victor Wembanyama, baby. The alien, the future goat, the baby goat,
So, new
Victor
question.
Wembanyama. What?
They trade Josh Giddey tomorrow. Do you go back to being a Bulls fan?
Yeah, I'm pulling my hat out.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's what I was curious about. I was like, are you
It's
just
like I said-
officially like, fuck
Yeah,
you,
dude,
I'm
I
done,
can
or is it
support
just I'll be back tomorrow?
I can support mediocrity. I just can't support pedophiles.
Fair enough. That was all I really wanted to know. Was just
Yeah. No, I'm
how's this
loyal
work?
until I would have done the same thing with the Bears if they traded for Watson. I'm loyal until you put someone who I morally cannot get behind on the team.
Interesting.
My morals ran higher than my fandom, unfortunately. As much as I'd love to be one of those fans that can be like, I'm just going to root against that player specifically, I can't do it. He's ingrained in the team now. Can't avoid him.
Is he?
Well, if I'm rooting for the Bulls to succeed, I'm also by proxy rooting for him to succeed.
No, I just mean, is he ingrained on the team? Like, have you looked at the Browns? None of them seem happy that 4 is there.
I mean, yeah, no, because there's
is he
actually some
ingrained,
decent people.
or is he just on the team?
There's some decent people in Cleveland, but
not anymore. Look at that quarterback room.
DTR's still there. Poor guy. Or is he a fondler by proxy?
I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. We'll see what happens. The influence could be a they could be leeching into DTR.
I was gonna say I don't want to manifest anything.
If something happens, I'm blaming fucking Deshaun so hard.
Yeah,
it's Deshaun's fault. I don't care. DTR. Well, unless it comes out that it was something that happened like in college, then it's like, oh,
yeah,
it makes sense why the Browns drafted you. But
yeah, that's like, have you? Speaking of that kind of stuff, real quick, just so we can get off the topic of yelling at each other for 5 minutes, we can yell at other people.
Let's go.
Jameis Winston's PR team needs to be fucking studied.
Why?
He might have the best PR team on the planet. You should see the amount of people, and this is including myself until like a year ago, that had no idea he was a scumbag. Like, it's actually mind-boggling how well they've covered that up.
Well, I mean, the Steelers did the same thing for Big Ben.
I know. It's insane to me how that works. Like, I know that's just Hollywood and,
I think it's
celebrity
just people
and whatnot.
don't care.
Which is disgusting.
Well, so it's like,
I mean,
no, so I get it to a degree. I get it with like major celebrities or like musicians and shit. I don't know who's done anything. I just don't give a fuck. I don't know the good or the bad that they've done. I just don't care.
Sure.
Unless I hear it from like one of you guys. And most of the time it's me saying, I don't actually want to know in most of these cases. Because then I
have to sit you down and tell you about P. Diddy.
Well, that one I do know because that was funny.
The diddler.
Anyways,
continue.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think that for most people, that's just what it is. A, he's not on their team, and B, most people aren't chronically online like we are, Miller.
There's a difference between being chronically online and just being aware of like what's in the news.
But like,
newsworthy things.
But that's the thing. It was never national news. It was covered in like South Florida.
Which is insane. That's my point. I had to find out that it happened. Listen, this was like a fucking movie moment for me when I found out. I was sitting.
Was it me who revealed it to you?
No.
I remember us talking about it
my
very soon.
gender studies class.
Oh.
I was in my gender studies class and we were talking about like sexual assault on college campuses. And we watched this documentary. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but it was such a good documentary because they convinced a bunch of girls who were done wrong by their colleges to come forward and tell their stories. And this was like mid 2010s this came out. And I'll never forget it. They show this blonde girl and she starts talking about how she was at a bar and this guy came over and was acting creepy towards her. And then another guy came over and posed as her boyfriend and was like, hey, buzz off. She's spoken for. And then the guy who came over and was acting as her boyfriend and defending her started talking her up and then slipped something in her drink, took her back to his apartment, and then the worst part was after she came to, he said, where do you live? And drove her to her dorm on his fucking moped. So she had to like stay hunched over him after that had happened. And then she said she had him drop her off like 3 blocks away so he wouldn't know where she lived. Yeah. And then she had to walk to her dorm. But she was talking about it, and then she mentioned it was a football star, and I was like, oh, it's got to be somebody who I've never heard of that got arrested, right? It's got to be someone that had like a bunch of potential. and then they show the first highlight of Jameis Winston his freshman year at Florida State throwing a touchdown, and fucking chills ran up my spine. And I audibly went, and my professor locked eyes with me for a second. And then after class, because I wore a fucking football jersey every week to class, she goes, "You didn't know he did that, did you?" And I said, "I had no clue." She goes, "Are you a fan of his?" And I said, "No, I don't give a shit about him, but I didn't know." And she smiled and she goes, "Well, I'm glad I can inform." Like, but like, it just baffles me how people don't know. Like, the reason I bring it up is because yesterday NFL posted something, and it was like quarterbacks in training camp as rookies, and it was like Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, some of the older quarterbacks, Mahomes, Russell Wilson, some of those guys, and Jameis Winston was lumped in there. And it's like, first of all, why is he in this conversation?
First overall pick, maybe?
I guess. And then second of all the comments were like, "Man, Jameis is such a silly, goofy guy." It's like, yeah, I bet he was real silly and goofy when he drugged and raped a girl. That was real silly and goofy of him. I know I'm not supposed to use the R word on YouTube, but it is so
or
infuriating.
Apple Podcast, probably.
Well,
hopefully this ends up going up somewhere. If not, everybody needs to know it was Miller's fault this week.
Well, yeah, my bad. But I'm speaking out.
The internet doesn't like when we do that.
Too bad. There's one good thing to have a platform for. It's speaking out, I fear. Even though this is like old news and I'm not like speaking out for a cause, but like if you see someone post Jameis Winston prop on your timeline, yell at them. That's the message of the day from Run the North.
Yeah. So I keep saying Acolyte spoilers, which let me just tell you, Nicole is the reason that I have to watch the episode without checking Twitter. She cares not at all for anybody else in the world.
She gets excited.
Hater. I don't hate her. I'm calling her a hater. In case that was hater, not hate her, hater.
Okay.
Before you even made the face, I like noticed how that sounded. I was like, "Oh, that's not what I wanted." But yeah, fun times.
But anyways,
you want to talk about running backs
and linebackers? Halfbacks, not running backs, because we're not doing fullbacks. That'll be a separate thing. So let's talk about some halfbacks.
Talk about running backs. I'm not.
Some lead backs.
Wouldn't a fullback be a lead back because they're lead blocking?
No, they're a lead back if they're the head of a committee.
Sorry, using logic really breaks down football and its weird ass naming schemes. I don't understand why any position is named anything.
No, you're right. You'd think the lead blocker would be the lead back. Yeah. But no, the back that leads the backfield in running, that's the lead
you'd think
back.
It'd be like lead back and tailback.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, quarterback would be like front back or just thrower man.
Throwback.
Throwback, let's go!
The pass back.
Pass back. So I got a lot of running back names.
Okay.
I don't know about you. So who are we putting in our unequivocally?
Quick, we're agreement CMC's number one, right?
I don't know if we're in agreement he's one, but he's in the unequivocal thing. I'm not spoiling CMC, 10 minutes from now.
Okay. CMC, Saquon.
Yeah.
Got to be in the unequivocal. I know we've made injury a big deal for everyone, but I feel like we ignored it for
Jalen Ramsey. But
I feel like Nick Chubb.
I want to agree. But did he tear his Achilles or his ACL this time? I don't actually remember.
ACL. I think his ACL exploded.
I'm double checking things.
No, it was MCL and meniscus.
Oh, that's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
That is also
tear. Oh no, he had to have a subsequent surgery to repair his ACL as well.
Okay.
So it was MCL, meniscus, and ACL.
He's also torn that MCL before. His MCL, PCL, and LCL, both in the same knee.
Yeah.
He's also had multiple sprains in that knee. So, in you know, in another world, maybe I would want to fully agree, but this is a scary world where this is multiple times to the same knee.
Okay. So I think what we do is we just say that we put like a little asterisk on the running backs. And we
Okay.
just say, if healthy,
If
Chubb's
healthy,
probably top
Nick Chubb's
three.
probably top 3. If he
But-
comes back well.
Right.
Yeah.
But because we have to be realistic,
Yeah.
plus it's more fun for us
Right.
if we leave an extra spot open.
True.
So,
True.
okay.
So who else are
if
we
we're
for
talking-
sure agreeing on in tops?
I'm going to throw one out that I knew you were going to agree with, but I don't think you think I would throw him out.
Are you gonna do it?
Aaron Jones.
Oh, that's not who I was gonna say, but who I was thinking. But I
think
do tend
he's
to agree.
absolutely up there.
I do tend
Aaron
to
Jones
agree.
has remained underrated.
Yes. No, I was gonna throw out the name of Bijan.
I've been consistent in saying I'm not putting year 2 players.
It's the running back position that
I'm still
it works
staying
different.
with it.
That's ridiculous.
No, I stand by. I'm not putting a year 2 player. If we're not putting Chubb because of injury, we're staying consistent with that.
But we did put Jalen
put it this
Ramsey,
way.
but that's because we saw him
Okay.
come back from the injury.
Okay, let's hold Bijan.
We're not putting him in the guaranteed, even though he should be. Okay, we'll deal with him later. Guaranteed. Other than that, though,
JT.
I think so, because he came back and looked pretty okay.
Yeah.
So there's 4. The other 2 that I'd argue for in this spot, Walker and Hall.
Yeah, I was gonna say Brees, so that makes me happy, and Ken Walker's right there too.
Okay. Those are our guaranteed. We'll deal with where they go later.
Yeah.
So now we've got to work through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got to work through 7 through 10.
So just
4 guys. We got 4 spots.
okay. So I'm just looking at PFF's list just to get names
Yeah.
because I forget names. Henry
Yep. The king.
has to go in here somewhere.
I would agree.
Isaiah Pacheco.
I have Pacheco written down as well.
Okay. No Jahmyr Gibbs. We're both in agreement Josh Jacobs is in top 10, right?
Yeah, I have his name written down so we could bring him up, but I've never been a Jacobs guy. I will not start being one today.
A really interesting one. I want to get your perspective. Raheem Mostert.
I do not have him, and that is mostly because outside of last year, dude's never been healthy.
Right.
Not one time.
I agree.
And
not that I can
he's
disagree. That's a pretty
also-
objective fact.
he's also, I think he just turned 32 and
Yeah,
is a guy who relies on his speed.
right.
That's not a great sign. He might be great for one more year, but you also just never can know. But Mostert's not a bad look.
I mean, I wouldn't put him personally just because of the history.
I have
Like, I wanted to bring him up because obviously he's getting a lot of prop based off the season he just
gotta
had.
bring him up.
But
But I think
don't
a
think-
rookie that you have to bring up. There might be 2. Was Kyron a Wookiee? Was he a Wookiee?
I can't do.
make
I
that
was gonna
noise.
try to do it. I can't do it.
I can't do it either.
I think he was a second year back.
Kyron was in his second year.
2020.
Okay. But
I
so
think he was
Kyron
top
was a guy.
10.
Yeah, no, he's a guy I wanted to bring up. No, the second year or the other rookie that I think deserved to be brought up was the guy who I thought was the better back in Miami.
Devon A. Chain.
A-Chain. Yeah.
Or A. Chan.
Don't care. Still calling him A-Chain. Sounds
I know.
better.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not putting a second year back there, but
No, and I'll fight a lot harder for Bijan than I will A-Chain.
a couple
But
other
I just
names
feel
that
like
I know,
that's just a name that needs brought up.
yeah, a couple other names like that. Not that I think they need brought up, but people want them brought up. Tony Pollard,
No.
doo-doo ass butt water. James Conner, good goal line back, good short yardage back, good pass catcher, not a great all around back. Jalen Warren, I don't even think he's the best back on his team.
So
DeAndre Swift.
I've got I don't like these names. Let me give you three real rips.
I'm getting to the good ones, but
let me give you three real rips.
Okay, I was bringing up names that I don't think should be in there, but people would want brought up.
I don't want them brought up. I want real running backs only.
All right.
Which means I've only got three others on my mind.
Okay.
Travis Etienne, James Cook, and Ramondre Stevenson.
Interesting, because I like ETN, but the names I have are Travis Etienne, David Montgomery, Najee Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, and Rashad White.
Najee being there is insane. He hasn't been good. What do you mean? Watch him play. He had 3 games last year where he finally looked like we've wanted him to for 7 years. I'm not giving him this. After one season or one quarter of a season where he finally stopped trying to be DeAndre Swift and decided to be what he's built to be.
You're not wrong in that sentiment.
So that's why I'm not
saying he deserves to be in there. I wanted to bring him up.
Oh, I see. That makes more sense.
3 years of 1,000 yards, 7 or more touchdowns every single season.
How many carries?
Hasn't missed a game in his career. His career high in carries was his rookie year, 307.
And then over 250 every other year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's volume merchant at
Still
that point.
averaging around 4 yards per carry. Last year was his first year averaging over 4 yards a carry.
Well, so here, let me, so last year was his first year averaging over 4?
Averaging over 4. The other 2 years it was 3.9, 3.8.
So CMC averages over 4 his entire career, has gone over 5 multiple times. I'm just bringing up the guys who are already in the list. And how...
Again, I'm not saying I think Najee's top 10.
Fair. I need to stop acting like you're trying to argue for him to be... we're basically at the final spot here. That's why I'm being so... I don't think it's Najee. Yeah.
No, I don't either. I'm just saying Najee's someone I've given a lot of shit to in the past.
Gotcha.
And I want to give him a fair shake in this moment because I do like Najee more now than I did in the past. I think he's finally taking a step in the right direction, and I think the later half of his career is going to be much more promising than the start of his career. Especially working with Arthur Smith makes me very, very excited for him. Not saying he'll ever be Derrick Henry, but you've got the build, and if you can say, hey, Najee, you see how Derrick ran? You're built the same fucking way, buddy. Just do a quarter of that. Do half of that.
Yeah.
I don't need you to be Derrick. Be you, but run like Derrick. And I think that's absolutely possible. Plus, having Jalen Warren to play off of is like beautiful, beautiful work. So what I'm trying to say is I'm excited for Najee.
Gotcha.
And I think this time next year we could be having this conversation. But right now, I don't think he's a top 10 running back.
So who else did you bring up?
The names I was actually bringing up primarily were Etienne, Montgomery, and Stevenson.
Montgomery, I do understand.
I think Montgomery's the best of that group.
I would agree. The issue is we're arguing over the last spot here, so I got to keep pounding the table for Bijan.
Oh, fuck, a mouse. Oh, bye.
Bro's just got a mouse.
I saw a mouse. I said, oh, fuck, a mouse. And he went from running forward, and he then ran backward. He was like, shit, I've been spotted.
He was going after your cheese.
Now, my cheese is locked away in a safe underground.
He was coming to steal the key.
Key is in my stomach.
He'll get in there.
Like that medieval trap where they would like put a candle on top of you and put a bunch of rats in a box over top of you and they'd have to like burrow through. That's scary. Imagine dying like that.
No, I'd rather not.
Think about it in detail. Imagine it vividly.
But
imagine them tearing away at your flesh. Oh.
But Bijan.
I don't like mustard very much. No, thank you.
No, that's Dijon. We're talking about Bijan.
Isn't that the little white dog?
I'm going to slap you.
Bijan Freeze.
We're talking about Bijan Robinson, the running back for the Falcons.
Oh, yeah, that guy I can't morally put in my top 10.
I'm trying to think
What
of
if-
who else we ranked top 10s is.
I don't think we've ranked a single second-year player top 10.
No.
We left out Laporta. We left out.
We
who
left
are
out
other notable guys?
Puka, but did we leave
Puka,
out
Brian
Stroud?
Branch. We haven't done quarterbacks yet.
Oh fuck.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not arguing for Stroud in the top 10.
I might,
I'm not.
just for giggles. Well, you have to remember that two guys that would be top 10 normally we have to argue out because they both are late 30s with torn Achilles. That opens up some spots.
Sure.
Or
We'll have to see when we get there.
do we want to just say screw it and just put Chubb at 10 and then there is no argument?
I
Say
honestly
could be
wouldn't hate
top
that.
3 if he's like Chubb again.
I say we either do that or I will concede to a tie at 10 between Bijan and Monty.
Ooh, I like that too. I think we stick with Chubb would be top 3 if he was here, which would kick both of them off. But we put the tie at 10 between Bijan and Monty. I like that.
Okay.
That way we
I will
both win.
concede
High
that.
five.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Plus, it's running backs. It's not a real position.
Ugh.
But just know on my list, I'm putting David Montgomery first.
Why?
Because I
Wouldn't
think
your
he's
list have
better.
Roshan first?
Yeah. No, my
Ah,
list would
got
have
him.
Roshan number 1. You're right.
And then it would have CMC because you're a Niners lover.
I do quite enjoy the 49ers.
The 49ers. Maybe we should have
Yeah.
brought up Elijah Mitchell.
Well, no.
What do you mean?
No.
Just because he's not top 1 on his team doesn't mean he's not top 2 in the league.
I think it does.
I don't think it does because the one ahead of him is fucking CMC. Literally
Well, I
every
think-
other running back in the league would be RB2 on
True.
that team.
That being said, though, I think there are other things that would make him not top 2 in the league, like everything he does on the field.
What do you mean? Elijah's great.
As an RB2, sure.
No, he's been an RB1 for that season where he played 10 games and had 1,000 yards in 10 games.
I could have 1,000 yards in 10 games running running in a Shanahan system.
No, you couldn't. Not behind that O-line.
O-line bad, but I'd be running behind Juszczyk, so automatic
Juszczyk
5
can
yards
only
every
block
play.
2 guys at a time. There's
Not
like
true.
8 guys coming.
Not true. Listen, if Kyle Shanahan grabbed Juszczyk by the head, said go block the entire defense, he'd find a way. That Harvard bastard would do the trigonometry in his head before the play and find a way to hit an angle that blocks every defender.
That's not how it works.
Yes, it is. Harvard education.
No.
You know, I've never thought about it. What if that's why Juszczyk's such a good fullback?
Oh my God. We're not getting on the fullback topic. They have
Hold
their
on,
own
hold on,
episode
hold on.
later. No.
Hold on, what about it, though?
We've got
what
ranking
if
to
he's
do.
so good because he
So
understands
who's number
angles
9?
so well because of I would say I can't give my answer because I think it would make you upset.
Who are you thinking? It might.
The real king.
I feel like that's a little low, but I also get it because he did look a tad slow last year, which is funny
Yeah.
because unlike Dalvin looking a tad slow where he couldn't outrun anybody, Derek was still outrunning people. He just looked like he was chugging more than he used to.
Then I would say Kyron's 8.
Oof. Oof.
And then I'm gonna say something that may upset you here.
Oh God.
I would argue Pacheco over Walker.
I can't get behind that one. You can have either the king at 9 or Pacheco over Walker. You cannot have
Okay.
both.
Well, hold on. I want to look at I'm just curious statistically.
Yeah. To be fair, Pacheco does get, the benefit of being behind Mahomes.
Yeah, but
And that's not hate
he's also
on
really fucking
fucking
good.
No, I'm not saying he's not. And that's also not saying Gino's bad. It's
Right.
just saying
Pacheco hasn't had 1,000 yards yet. That's crazy.
that's what I mean. They don't run the football.
But his receiving numbers are also lower than I thought they'd be.
You know whose receiving numbers might be higher than you'd think they're. Actually, they're probably not higher.
They're not higher than I'd think they are, but
No.
they're higher than
Yeah.
Pacheco's, Ken Walker's.
Yeah.
If that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But, I would have figured Pacheco's receiving numbers would have been higher. It feels like he had 44 receptions for 244 yards. It's probably why I figured they were higher.
Yeah, he's
Mahomes
getting a
gives
lot
him
of
the
catches.
ball. It's just they're like at the line of scrimmage.
And it seems like he's good like running after contact, but he's not great yards after catch wise, which is weird.
I think it's the getting the ball and turning upfield isn't his thing.
Which fair, if you don't do that for most of your life, that's not a thing you figure out fast.
I don't know. I'm just so infatuated with Isaiah Pacheco as a concept. Like the way he runs the football is so fucking cool. Like, genuinely speaking, have you watched his stride, his runner's gait?
Yeah. I know you think he looks like Jamal Charles, and I don't know how I feel about that one.
The way he
Jamal
runs,
was never that angry, so I don't know if I.
He
but I've
looks
also
like a
never
pissed off Jamal.
looked.
So listen, this is. I fucking hate that Jahmyr Gibbs is a Lion because I love his gait too. The way I see it, Isaiah Pacheco is angry Jamal Charles. Jahmyr Gibbs is like, I don't want to put this, like dainty Jamal Charles. Like they have very similar, like their gaits are almost the same. It's just the intensity in their steps. Like Gibbs is a lot more, his feet are a lot lighter and he's a lot more
Gibbs is floaty.
Right, he's floaty. Jamal is like standard. Pacheco
one of them's
is
a barbarian,
ground.
one's a sorcerer.
Right.
Jamal Charles was just like,
what is he, a fighter?
I was gonna say like a monk.
Okay, a monk. Actually, monk works better because the chi would evolve into the sorcery.
Yeah.
We'll go that route. Okay.
And just angry monk. That's just barbarian.
Yeah. Angry monk is barbarian. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's just the way they run. It's very, very similar. It's this is something I was never like turned on to until I watched Isaiah Pacheco with my dad. And my dad played fullback in high school, and his favorite position to watch is running backs. Because he played in the wing tee, so the fullback wasn't blocking a whole lot. He was the primary ball carrier. But he pointed out, he's like, that kid for the 49ers runs like Jamal Charles. I was like, oh shit. That's crazy, because he showed. Yeah, Chiefs.
I was helping.
Fuck.
I'm just helping.
Whatever team he did. No, you're right. Whatever team he plays for. And then we were watching the Lions and Bears play one day. He was like, and I was talking a lot of shit about Jahmyr Gibbs. I was like, that fucking punk. Like, being a Bears fan, talking shit. He was like, listen, I know you don't like him, but he runs like Jamal Charles too. And I was like, oh shit, you are right. I hate that. I hate that I like the way Jahmyr Gibbs runs.
Fair enough. So, what have you decided?
I'll secede to Walker over Pacheco.
Let's go. So we're looking at 10 is the tie between Bijan and Monty. 9 is King Henry. 8 is Kyron. 7's Pacheco. 6 is Ken Walker. So who starts out our top 5? I might say something that may anger Miller.
Go ahead. I'm interested.
Jonathan Taylor.
That's where my head was at.
Oh,
actually.
Okay, cool. Good.
Yeah.
I think I like Taylor at 5.
Okay.
I would say Jones at 4.
Really?
Old man scares me. He's like 32.
Yeah.
Wrong side of 30, always scary. Because that means any given Sunday he can be not hit. Oh, he's not 30 yet. Really? Wait.
No, he's like 28,
Reconsidering.
Right?
He's 29 and 206 days.
29. He'll
turn 30 mid-season, but that means I'm still less afraid. I get afraid next year. So I get afraid in week 8.
With 3, what is about to be our 3 and 4, I'm cool either way. I'll let you make the call here.
I think let's go. I love Brees though, man. I still like Ken Walker more, but I also know Brees is better right now.
I've been on the Brees train since day one. Brees Hall reminded me of Matt Forte coming
Me and you used to argue. I don't remember who Ken reminded me of, but we used to argue because I loved Ken Walker coming out because we argued that year. Who's going to be better?
And then Brees Hall got hurt.
Yeah, and then I was like, hey, and then they both had a relatively full season, and it's like, damn. Hey, at least still top almost 5 for Ken Walker, so we're there.
Yeah, Brees is just a better pass catcher.
Yep.
That's what separates them in my eyes. Like,
I agree.
I would say Ken Walker, he might be a little bit better as a pure, like, between the tackles runner.
Yep. Which, if you've noticed anything about the way I watch running backs,
I want to say that because Seattle was more of a outside zone.
Last year they had to be. They had me and you as guards.
I know, but I'm just saying that was kind of where he was thriving.
Well, no, he was better the year before when he was able to run up the gut more.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. I was letting recency get me there. Okay, yeah, so I was right. Yeah. He's better between the tackles.
Yeah,
I think Brees,
because that I think is where we kind of have a bit of our differences. Like, I will always like the running back. I don't care. Like, I care how good you are as a pass catcher to a degree. But, like, if I'm just talking, who's the better running back? I'm only thinking, hand them the ball. Who do I want touching that ball every time?
Which is so ironic because I'm me, you'd figure.
Yeah, it is weird that's how that
You got to
flips.
be realistic in today's NFL with how important. I think the difference is I grew up on Matt Forte.
Right, and I grew up on Adrian Peterson.
Right. I don't want to say he was the OG pass catching back because it's not true.
No,
but
that'd
he
be
was
LT, but maybe not even.
Actually, it would
That's where my head goes first, though.
I always forget which one. Was it Dickerson or Falk that was a better pass catcher?
I don't know.
It was Dickerson.
You could also go back. Wasn't Marcus Allen doing that too?
Yeah, Marcus Allen was doing that. Roger Craig was a really good pass catching running back.
Oh yeah, Marcus Allen was Himothy. Nice. Ooh, Marcus Allen had a 2,400 yard from scrimmage year. I'm really happy they gave him MVP that year.
Yeah.
Shouts out Marcus Allen.
Walter Payton was also great at catching
447 touches in a year, though. Jesus.
Yeah. By the way, with Dickerson and Falk, it was Falk. Falk was a substantially better pass catcher by 4,000 career yards.
And that's where this gets tough. I'm going to say we give 4 to Aaron Jones and 3 to Brees. And it's going to go back to the injury because Aaron Jones missed a bunch of games last year.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
So I will give it to Brees. The fact that Aaron Jones is only a one-time Pro Bowler hurts my soul. I'm okay with it because he was a Packer, but also, like, damn.
Yeah.
Apparently I should have worn my Aaron Jones jersey today. Oops.
Apparently. And then I think safely we can say Saquon 2, CMC 1.
Yeah, I wanted to start an argument, but I really don't see the point. Everybody would know that's just arguing to argue, I think.
Yeah.
I do love Saquon, though. That's my GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
Not actually.
Also, I want to say, since we're talking about running backs, shout out to the Patriots for paying Ramondre Stevenson.
Did they pay him?
It was yes, they did. They gave him a 3-year deal. He's getting like $6 million a year, I think. Something low like that.
That is pretty low. But, I mean, they did almost replace him with Zeke, which was weird.
No, sorry, he's getting he's getting $4 million a year with less than $1 million fully guaranteed per year.
That's insane. How about the Patriots then? They're paying this guy less than fucking Rashad Penny. How about we say fuck them Patriots?
4-year extension for $36 million, 17 guaranteed. I'm just glad he got extended. I thought they were gonna eventually let him go, but he's good enough to where you pay him, I think.
Yeah, I like Ramondre, as we both brought him up a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Who is Alex Van Pelt? I don't know.
What's the name?
That's the Patriots guy.
Yeah.
Oh, they brought in Antonio Gibson. I was like, who's their other running back at this point? But all right. Because they're the Patriots. They always have to have at least 2.
Yeah, no, I'm totally behind RB by committee, but I'm glad they paid.
I am to a degree. You know, maybe I should be all the time, but I want to see running backs do running back things.
I mean, yeah, but the only problem with that is if you do that nowadays, those backs have a short shelf life.
You're a running back. You have a short shelf life anyways. The minute
Yeah,
you
but you
lose a
prolong-
step, there's a ton of people better or just as good as you.
Yeah, but you prolong it if you limit tread.
Fair. Well, then maybe CMC shouldn't be one. His tread has never been limited other than by injury, which isn't really limiting.
Yeah, but he's also like fun fact. We had a conversation going in the group chat that I have for my Madden league. And this guy who had joined pretty recently said that he doesn't think Christian McCaffrey's a great running back.
Hmm.
And his reasoning was that he's not LaDainian Tomlinson. It's like you're right, he's not. But LaDainian Tomlinson's your bar for great?
That's a pretty high bar.
Right.
That's
By
a
that
really
logic,
high bar.
There's like four great running backs. It's like, brother.
It's like
Come
LT, Adrian, Barry, Walter.
Yeah.
That's the four. Mount Rushmore, I guess. GG's.
Right.
Hey, high five.
But-
We both have a Mount Rushmore running back.
But like Christian McCaffrey's a generation defining back.
Ugh.
Like I want to look real quick because this is something that's interesting to me. I know we'll have to talk about Saquon here in a second too, but I'm really interested. Offensive Player of the Year, 3-time first team All Pro, second team All Pro, led the league in rushing yards in 2023. Still presumably has another 5 years left where he's probably going to get more All Pros and maybe even get another Offensive Player of the Year. With 10,000 career yards, 80 career touchdowns, averaging almost 5 yards a carry. Does Christian McCaffrey have a potential Hall of Fame case if he keeps up at this level?
I think he has a Hall of Fame case if he retired tomorrow.
I like that.
Running back's
I
not
like
the
that.
hardest spot to get. Remember, Terrell Davis was a Hall of Famer after 4 years. It's
But he also
easier
won
to make.
MVP.
Sure, running backs don't do that anymore. CMC will never win an
Right.
MVP. It doesn't matter what
Well,
he does.
No, it
So-
doesn't. But I'm saying that I think puts more weight in Terrell Davis's MVP. Looking
Well,
at it now, like
Yeah.
okay, this is the point. The point I'm trying to make with that is the Hall of Fame voting committee isn't flexible on that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter if it's impossible for you to win MVP; they still want you to. Like fullbacks, it's impossible for them to put up a bunch of yards. If you're not putting up the yards, they're not voting for you.
I guess.
Like,
but I don't
Lorenzo
know.
Neal, I know I've talked about this stat fucking 10 times in the past week. Lorenzo Neal blocked for 11 straight 1,000-yard rushers. That is the single greatest achievement a fullback has probably ever had, outside of like Jim Taylor and Jim Brown winning the league's most valuable player award. He's not in the Hall of Fame. He hasn't even gotten past like the second round of voting. They don't give a shit about, I don't want to say watering down requirements, but like adapting requirements to the modern NFL and the way the game's played now. They don't care about that.
They're also Hall of Fame voters. They find any reason to not put a guy in,
That's also true.
including just sometimes the teams that they play for, which might be a lot of Lorenzo's problem. He was a Charger. There are
LT
certain
got
teams. Yeah, there's a little bit of a difference there. But even then, there's like not. Remember how there was a question of whether Randy Moss would be first ballot or not?
Weren't they trying to say that was because it was off the field stuff though, or am I misremembering?
Right, that is what they were trying to say. Remember Chris Carter didn't get voted in for 10 years because of off the field stuff,
right.
which was
Terrell,
just drugs.
is Terrell Owens in now?
Yes.
He has to be, right? I always forget.
I think it was
Because
a
it took
second
him forever
year.
to get in.
I think it was just a year, but T.O.'s
Really?
still really loud. Even not on the field. He's
2018, third year of eligibility.
loud. Okay. Yeah.
Close enough. You were closer than I thought, because I thought it was like 6 or 7 years. I thought it was like they were trying to keep him out, and eventually they were like,
The
"You
only
can't do
person
it
they
anymore."
did that for was Chris Carter, who retired as the second greatest receiver to ever live. Like
Right.
statistically, which was
Uh-huh.
weird. I'm not trying to say Chris Carter's like the second greatest.
No,
but
I
like,
understand what
when he
you're saying.
retired, it wasn't
When he retired,
close.
yeah.
It was him and
Yeah.
Jerry, and then you knew T.O. and Randy are going to be there soon, but
Yeah.
Yeah. The Hall of Fame voters are weird. That's why I have to keep like shouting from the rooftops that Harrison Smith is a Hall of Famer, because he'll never end up getting in. It doesn't matter. Like, I loved it. Somebody was like, only the top 20 safeties ever basically are in the Hall of Fame. Do you think he's top 20? And it's like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I do actually.
Like, actually, I'm curious.
Oh,
so pro football.
His numbers compared to Palomalu are exactly the same, except for Palomalu won Depoy.
So, Pro Football Reference has their Hall of Fame monitor, right? Which I know isn't like the end-all, be-all, but I do like to look at it.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
What is his? I've never seen it.
That's what I'm checking right now.
His number ranks 94th among defensive backs.
Yeah.
Which,
he's
that's
at a 41.
The average Hall of Fame DB is a 98, which still isn't entirely valid.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, guys that don't reach the 98 mark at all? Palomalu, Paul
Ken
Krause,
Houston, Paul
Steve
Krause.
Atwater.
Yeah. Pat Pete, who's going to be a Hall of Famer.
And this is,
Richard
again,
Sherman,
really messed up because it's only showing defensive backs.
Yeah.
Not safeties. So it's like, can you
if
really
safeties,
compare?
The requirements would be way different.
Yeah. But even then, like, Harrison Smith is losing out because he played for the Vikings, and that's like the biggest thing. Because, well, he was only a 6-time Pro Bowler. Yeah, that's because he played for the Vikings. When you play for a not good team, it doesn't really matter how good you are. Unless you're like somebody people recognize. And Harrison Smith, even though I love him for this, always been a quiet dude. He's not making noise about it. He's just playing great football and keeping it moving.
Yeah, the two best examples, like the complete flip side of that is, it's so funny, and I'm not trying to say this to shit on the Bears, but it does feel like if a Bears player breathes for long enough, they get in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just because what the Bears end up doing is they will have a guy who's around for 10, 15 years and is fucking awesome, but they'll never win a ring. Like my two favorite examples, Dick Butkus, Gale Sayers. They were on some of the worst Bears teams of all time. And that's like not arguable. Like horrible Bears teams winning 2-3 games a season. But Dick Butkus, because not only was he the best defensive player in the league at the time, but he had the big personality. Everybody knew who Dick Butkus was. Yeah. He got it.
I think
he only played like 8 years.
I think it's also just a market thing. Football market versus Minnesota's a football market, but it's also like when you think of the biggest football cities, you don't think of Minneapolis, even though you should. Right. It's like when you're just thinking about it, you know, you think of Pittsburgh. That's why if Harrison Smith, this is the thing I've said, if Harrison Smith played for the Steelers, Ravens, or like Patriots, he probably would have won at least a Depoy, and nobody would question if he was a Hall of Famer.
You swap Harrison Smith and Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People argue that Polamalu might not deserve it, and Harry's a lock. That's it. You just swap where they played their whole careers.
I just like to point out, completely unrelated, but I pulled out of my ass Dick Butkus played like 8 years. He played 8 years.
Yeah, I love doing that. I love randomly saying numbers and being right.
Yeah, you played from 65 to 73. And then Gale Sayers played even shorter. His fucking knee exploded.
Yeah.
He played 6 years. First ballot Hall of Famer.
I forgot that was that year because I remember being so mad about it. Harrison Smith finished 4th in Depoy voting in 2017. That was the year Aaron Donald won Defensive Player of the Year, having 11 sacks and 32 total tackles.
Wasn't it because of his pressures and his double team rate?
Yeah, but I still don't care.
Well, I'm just saying, I was making sure I had the right year.
No,
I wasn't.
Because I always thought the argument should only be between Calais Campbell and Harrison Smith because those were the two best players on the two best defenses.
What year was this?
2017. That was the, like, Saxonville and...
Yeah. I just want to remember who else was up there.
Chandler Jones, Cameron Jordan, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Bobby Wagner. Oh, and Xavier Rhodes. All roads were closed.
Yeah.
Most of them were tied, though, outside of, like, Chandler Jones. He had 17
sacks.
Yeah.
What the fuck did Cam Jordan do? He had an interception. He had a pick six.
And 13 sacks.
That's what I'm saying. 13 sacks is a defensive end. I'm not.
Yeah, no. No.
Like,
yeah.
for him to get the same as Harry is what I'm trying to say.
It was one of those things, man. It's tough. Being a Viking is tough. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Because, like, historically, the Vikings are, like, one of the greatest franchises ever. So I don't know why they're so hated by the league. But they just
I
are.
could fucking cry.
For why?
I just saw Kyle Fuller's name, and I got hit with a wave of
I also didn't
nostalgia.
know. I knew Hitman and Dirty Harry. I didn't know the Heartbreak Kid was a nickname for Harrison Smith. I like it.
I didn't either. I've never heard him called Dirty Harry either.
Really?
It makes sense, but I've never heard it. I've only ever heard Harry the Hitman.
Well, because Hitman's the one.
Because that's just perfect.
He also literally says that when he introduces himself. Yeah. He calls himself now Harry the Hitman Smith.
Awesome.
I just call him Hitman, but that's fine.
I like Harry the Hitman better.
Yeah.
It flows better, personally.
For sure. But yeah, so we figured out our top 10 running backs. Let's run through it one more time. CMC, Saquon, Breece Hall, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Ken Walker, Isaiah Pacheco, Kyron Williams, King Henry, and then a tie at 10 between Bijan Robinson and David Montgomery.
Should we talk about Saquon for a second? Since we
kind of did skip Saquon. Saquon, I mean, I feel like Saquon's like the guy who needs talked about the least. Everybody kind of knows when he's healthy, he's the first or second back in the league every time.
When he's healthy, he's the best pure runner of the football in football.
Yes.
Like, bar none.
Yep.
He's so incredible. And he has everything, the mix of contact balance, vision, explosiveness, physicality. I mean, there's not the only thing that's incomplete to his game is his lower legs. He has everything else.
Yeah.
Everything else is perfect. Like, you could not build a better back in a lab.
Yeah.
It's literally, oh my God, Saquon's Achilles.
Yeah, pretty much.
Has anyone ever made this comparison before?
I don't know.
Surely, I can't be that smart.
I mean, you are questioning about people, which means you're more asking,
someone's called Saquon Achilles.
I'm looking. I typed in Saquon Barkley is Achilles.
I typed in Saquon Achilles, but I'm probably just going to get a bunch of shit about injuries.
I'm getting nothing like that, so there you go. Ooh.
Okay, hold on.
Adrian Peterson gave you a thing about Saquon at one point. During a top 100 thing, Adrian Peterson said he's like a bigger, more physical Barry Sanders. Which I see it, actually. But
such a good comparison.
It really is.
It's such a good comparison.
Hey, man. AP knows ball.
He does.
All
right, I'm just I'm posting this to Twitter.
There you go. Get it posted before I steal it.
All right, how do I want to do this? I'm just gonna put a picture of Saquon, picture of Achilles, and just
Brad
say these
Pitt
are the same.
as
This is the same person. I'll put oh no, is there like is there an old painting of Achilles where his dick isn't out?
No, that's why I said Brad Pitt as Achilles. That's the only movie to feature Achilles. Oh, dude, Troy is such a good movie. You ever seen it?
Nope.
Oh my God, you need to watch Troy. Oh. It's so good.
Why are they all AI generated?
Because it's the AI of the future.
I hate AI.
But yeah, no.
Not Allen Iverson.
Well, maybe. No.
But I hate artificial intelligence. I want real art.
There is no art. There's only the Force.
What? You say Star Wars, big fella?
It might be. You don't know. Oh, I forget Saquon's an Eagle now, so I have to start hating him.
I don't. I like the Eagles. I think they're pretty neat.
It's tough because, I love Jalen Hurts. Love Devonta.
Plus, their offensive line sings Christmas carols, and that makes me happy.
Maybe not anymore. They lost Santa Claus.
I'll guarantee you they still make a Christmas album.
How do you make a Christmas album without Santa Claus?
Who's to say he can't come back for the album? The Philly specials featuring Jason Kelsey about to go crazy.
Bro thinks he's Philly special. Okay, so what else are we yelling?
We're gonna do linebackers. Yeah?
Right. Yes. So, how many guaranteed locks do you think there are as linebackers?
Trace.
Who's your third? DeMario?
Yes.
Okay.
I think he's LB too.
Fair enough. I don't know if I can push that narrative because
he does everything Roquan does, has done it longer,
but doing it longer also means that dude is 35 and a half.
Hasn't lost a step yet.
Yeah, but at this age, it's not losing a step. It's falling off a fucking mountain.
Hadn't done it yet.
It's falling off of Sir Gregor Clegane.
His game isn't like crazy predicated on athleticism. It's instincts. Like, yeah, he's quick, but he's also just really fucking smart, and he gets to places like he gets to where he needs to be. You know the idea of somebody just having a nose for the ball, being at the right place at the right time all the time. That's not like a coincidental thing. I know it gets like played off as like that's just a thing you say about a player. No, that's saying a player is really fucking instinctive. And Demario Davis is like the pinnacle of that.
Fred Warner only being a 3-time All-Pro is wild.
He's the best linebacker I've seen in my lifetime.
Well, apparently in 2021, the best linebacker of your lifetime was actually, hold on, Devondre Campbell and Shaq Leonard.
Which was the dumbest thing ever. Devondre Campbell being good for one season pisses me off.
And then all of the All-Pro dudes were DeMario, Roquan, Levante, and Bobby Wagner. Fred Warner wasn't even a top 6 linebacker that year.
Bobby Wagner hasn't deserved to be an All-Pro in years.
Well, that was years ago.
But yeah, no, like I missed Prime Urlacher, Prime Ray Lewis, all those kind of guys. Fred Warner is by far and away the best linebacker I've seen in my lifetime.
Luke Kuechly is my GOAT.
I think Fred Warner's better than Luke Kuechly.
That's insane. You're drugs.
I will die on that hill. I think he's more instinctive. I think he's a smarter player. I think he's better on a fundamental aspect. I think he's better in coverage.
I think you didn't watch Luke Kuechly.
Physical. Luke Kuechly's more physical, and he's a better run defender, but I think Warner's better in coverage.
I think you're too young here.
No, I remember Kuechly pretty vividly. And I'm not saying it's by like a wide margin. I'm not saying like Kuechly doesn't hold a candle. I think it's very close. I just think Warner being better in coverage is a tiebreaker for me.
So we've got our 3. I want to say a name that I know I can't actually argue for because there's only one. Yeah, there's only one rookie I can actually convince to go into any of these spots, and that's Bijan. Maybe Stroud. Yeah. I can fight tooth and nail for that one, maybe. And that's just because if we're going to include Jordan Love, I feel like we'd have to include Stroud because they both have only done it once.
Yeah, no, I think it's too early.
No, that's fair. I just feel like I want his name out there, and I want it out here in this moment and not later when we're also bringing up, Robert Spillane.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Robert Spillane's bad. I'm just saying if Ivan Pace just duplicates what he did last year, he'll be in the higher echelon. I said Ivan Pace, right?
Yes.
My brain's said I said Rob Spillane again. But if Ivan Pace replicates what he did last year, I think we'll be arguing for him in this higher end spot. I don't mean 1 through 3. Though maybe if DeMario falls off a cliff, which I don't think he will, but in this upper, 4 through 7 slot is where I would, if he does it again, where we could be arguing for Ivan Pace next year. So I just want to get my shout out in before we get into more aggressive things. You know who we're not even thinking about, though?
Who?
Jack Campbell.
No, we are not, unfortunately.
So I've got some names that I feel like are kind of close to these guys, maybe.
Let me hear them.
That would be like Levante David.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, a CJ Mosley, even a Quincy Williams, 2 Jets. I like
Um,
Quincy. I like Q.
I like Quincy as well. But I think he's one that's on the borderline
I'm
for
not going to
me.
argue. I'm not going to talk about your 2 Bears idiots, so I'll skip them. Bolton,
Well, they're both
JOK,
deserving.
Bobby Okereke.
Okereke.
Yeah, okay.
Unfortunately, it should be Okereke, but it is Okereke.
I like Okereke too. That works. Matt Milano, but he's coming off injury, so I don't know
Yeah,
what to do
we'll
with
have to
Matt
leave him
Milano.
off
Yeah.
because of the injury. But again, he's someone like Nick Chubb. I think if he's healthy, he's 4.
Yeah. So let's see which ones. So we both agree that. Okay. So I wrote my 3 down in order, or like the top 3. So we agreed on Levante though.
I honestly think Levante's, if we're leaving off
Yeah, might be at 4.
Milano, I
So
think Levante's next.
I might have just done this kind of in my order. So my exact list is Warner, Roquan Davis, Milano, David, Mosley, Quincy, Bolton, Edwards, Edmonds, Pace, JOK.
Okay.
But that's my personal order where I'm defending my boy.
So
Which just means I would just move up 1 guy, but that's my thing. And we can move Quincy wherever. I just really like Quincy.
Okay. So I would say my top 4, like, lock for me
Yeah.
is Warner, Davis, Smith, David.
Yep.
In that order for me.
There. We'll argue the order later.
Right, but I'm just saying those are my top 4.
Yep.
And then I think after that, the
CJ
next
Mosley
tier of guys.
I feel like he's an in-betweener.
He's interesting.
He's not, like, I feel like he's better than that whole next group, but I don't feel like he's as good as the top group. You know what I mean?
See, I disagree. I think there's a couple guys that are in here, and I can see Mosley being in that group. But yeah, no, I would say the next group, it would be like Mosley, Nick Bolton, Edmonds, Edwards, JOK. That would be the next like group for me. Not in that order, but those names. And then I think the next guys
We're arguing over 1 guy now. We've got 1 spot.
Okay, well, I do want to throw 1 more name in here, and you're not going to like it because it's going to be the wrong guy from a specific team. But I do think the 2 guys are close. I just think one's a little bit better. Jermaine Pratt.
No.
I don't think he's top 10, but I want to bring his name up.
I don't even think he's the best on his team.
I think he is.
I don't think you've watched Logan Wilson, or you're just mad because Logan Wilson hit Pratt. I have.
I don't have anything against the hip drop tackle. I'm not one of those weirdos.
I can't ever get behind Jermaine Pratt because mentally he's useless. He might be the weakest motherfucker. I heard him speak one time. Let me see if I can find it real quick. We can keep yapping.
I was going to say, I've never heard anything questioning his mentality.
It was a thing that I remember from last year, but
if he's like not that guy mentally, then sure, like we can erase it.
I at least hope I'm thinking of Jermaine Pratt. So that's why I'm double checking.
Was he like the one that got mad at Joseph Osai for jumping off sides or something?
I don't think so, but even then, that's also lame.
No, that's definitely lame, but I don't think that was him.
Oh, no, it wasn't the offsides thing. I do remember him screaming about, why would you even touch the quarterback? Because it was the out-of-bounds play on Mahomes.
And it was, and that was to Joseph Osai.
It was.
Yeah.
So but there was also that whole thing where he was bitching about the Bengals right after and then immediately re-signed. Like, he was mad at the whole team and, like, being such a whiny bitch about it. And then I think he got no offers from anywhere else and immediately crawled back.
Yeah, I did forget about that. Okay.
That's what it was.
Stand corrected.
But also, I think Logan Wilson's just better. I don't think it's a mentality thing. I think Logan Wilson is better. I think almost at every part of it. He's better in coverage.
I think Pratt's a better run defender.
I feel like the coverage difference, even if you want to say that, is a lot bigger of a gap.
I don't know. I've never seen any problems with Pratt in coverage. Like, I don't think.
Okay, but I've never seen problems with this guy either. But like with a certain guy either, but a guy being 10 times better than, well, I haven't seen any problems. Logan Wilson's great in coverage.
Okay.
I just didn't want to bring him up because I knew that would be a.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie,
I think his
I kind of
name's
forgot.
worth mentioning.
I kind of just forgot.
I wouldn't put him top 10, but I do think his name's worth mentioning.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I
we're down
like
to our last spot.
So,
who do we have filling the other 4? Or the other 5?
Bolton, Edwards, Edmonds, JOK, Mosley.
Okay. And Mosley. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I think for me it's between Okereke and Williams. Quincy Williams.
Oh, he was hurt last year, huh? I was gonna say I like Jordan Brooks, but he's coming off injury.
If Jordan Brooks was healthy, absolutely.
Just like why we truly can't put Dre Greenlaw even in the mix.
Yes.
Especially since his is an Achilles, which.
That's why I didn't even bring him up. Yeah.
So I don't know. Do I want to try to? I don't need to argue for Logan Wilson because there's no chance he wins.
Yeah.
I would go. Personally, I like Quincy more, but I'm not offended with either guy.
I would go Okereke just because Quincy Williams had a big year last year, and he's been okay prior to that. But Bobby Okereke's always low-key been that dude. And then last year in New York in a new defense where he was like allowed to be the guy. Because when he was sharing the field with Zaire Franklin, there was a lot of attention taken off of him from a play calling perspective. But last year he really like took over in New York.
So Quincy's been good for 3 years with the Jets. He was just not good his first 2. He was great last year. Last year he was a first-team All-Pro.
Oh, that's right. He did get the All-Pro nod.
Yeah, I forgot about that as well.
Well, I will secede Quincy then.
Okay.
He was an All-Pro. Like
Quincy's at 10. Let's give him that.
Okay.
I love Quincy.
Yeah.
That's my goat.
No, I'm totally okay with that.
Do you want to just put Mosley right after him then?
Yeah, I would say so.
Mosley at 9. Okay.
Now this is where it gets interesting.
I don't know which order to put them in, but I think. Oh, would I? I think the next 3 are your boys and JOK. And I don't really care about the order. I just think they're the next 3.
So we like Bolton the most out of this group.
I do. Yeah. Me personally.
I'm going to disagree solely for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't know if he missed time with injury last year. I mean, Nick Bolton played banged up. Yeah, he played 8 games last year.
Ooh, okay. That doesn't matter.
And when he came back, he still looked good, but he wasn't a top 5 linebacker.
Sure.
Top 10, absolutely. Top 5, no. Whereas Edwards, just going down the list, because I have them listed, Edwards, Edmonds, JOK, just not like ordered, but just written down. Edwards had a career year in Chicago and probably had an all-pro argument. Edmonds, once again, how do I want to put this? PFF fucking hated Edmonds because PFF is moronic, but the work he was doing in Chicago's system was awesome. And he fit, once the Bears defense started clicking, Edmonds really came into his own and looked like an incredible linebacker. And then JOK was another breakout guy who was already coming off a breakout. I would say out of this group personally, JOK is the best. Then I would go Edwards, Edmonds, Bolton.
You think JOK is the best?
Yes.
I don't hate that. You'd go Edmonds over Bolton, though.
Yeah, because Bolton played 8 games.
Fair enough, I guess.
And I also think
that
Edmonds,
leads me
when
to
healthy,
question, do we move Bolton down because of that?
I still... I could get behind
Below
that.
Quincy and CJ.
Yeah.
And
I
also,
don't
do we
hate that.
flip Quincy and CJ? Who's better?
I think Quincy's better than CJ now that I'm sitting here
okay,
thinking
let's
about
go.
it.
10 is Bolton, and that's not because he's the 10th best. That's just because that's how injuries work on our lists.
Yeah.
So, Bolton, Mosley, Williams, Edmonds, Edwards, JOK.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. And then I don't know if there's an argument. The argument's at 2 and 3. Levante David's great. He's at 4. Nothing changes. It's DeMario and Roquan.
Yeah.
We got to let the Bears fan be angry, but I'm kidding. I know that's not it.
I was going to say, listen.
It's more fun.
I'm down
to concede. See, I hate it. One of them is a saint and the other got bitched by Carson Wentz. I don't know what to do about this.
I just want to throw, since we're talking about him, I do want to put out there, like, my opinion on Roquan Smith has nothing to do with his time in Chicago or his bullshit with Chicago. He didn't want to be in Chicago. The Bears didn't want him. That was a mutual splitting. That wasn't him saying, fuck you, Chicago, you suck. It's him saying, I want money, and Ryan Poles saying, no. And him saying, well, then trade me. And Ryan Poles saying, okay,
deal.
Glad we could work this situation out. Yeah. Now, however, I will say he is bitch made for crying about it after the fact.
That's true.
That's in the past. Like, listen,
that might be enough to move him down to 3 for me. I don't know if I want to put a saint at 2 at anything.
I don't care who you are. If you ask to be traded, then get traded, and you're like, it really blindsided me. I wasn't expecting it. What did you think was going to happen?
It's almost as good. Oh, dude, did you see the Diggs thing?
No.
Minnesota traded me and wanted they didn't want what was best for me. They tried to send me somewhere that would kill my career. To the young up and coming quarterback that played exactly the opposite of Kirk, which is what you wanted. We gave you everything you wanted and you bitched. Cuz Minnesota was better off without you, and that's rough, I guess, buddy. I don't know. That has to be it. It's just angry because you broke up with the girl and then she got with like the greatest guy to ever live. And you're like, yeah, that's fucked up. She didn't want what was best for me. It's like, no, fuck you, cunt. What do you want?
Yeah. No, but yeah, Roquan, I don't have anything against him as a player. He's an incredible coverage linebacker.
Yeah.
Here, this time next year, he probably will be above Demario Davis. But considering they're so similar, and on top of that, Demario Davis, I think, is a substantially better run defender.
See,
that's
Davis
something people don't
saint.
talk. Okay, I don't care. I really don't.
My bias has to interfere.
Okay, but like, genuinely speaking, let me ask you: take the team and the name away from it. Would you rather have linebacker
probably Demario, but I don't care. Hold on. One place.
Linebacker A, who is an incredible coverage player, but is small and gets pushed around in run defense unless he can shoot a gap, or linebacker B, who is just as good in coverage and is a better run defender because he's bigger.
Is he just as good in coverage?
Yes. Okay. He's not as athletic, so he doesn't move sideline to sideline as quickly, but his instincts make up for it. Roquan, I'm not saying Roquan is oblivious in coverage and it's just a athleticism merchant or some shit, but there will be moments where Roquan will get faked out and he'll be like, all right, I can just run over here and make the play and it doesn't matter. Demario, it's like he's got a fucking sixth sense. Like, fucking GTA when you can slow down time as Michael or as Franklin.
Yeah.
That's Demario Davis in coverage. Everything, he's like in the fucking Matrix every time he drops back into coverage. And he can just see everything. Him and Fred Warner have that in their game. And Levante David has a little bit of that too. Roquan Smith doesn't have that, but he's moving just as fast as the game is, so it doesn't matter. I prefer instincts over athleticism, as long as we're not talking about like 1965's most athletic linebacker versus Roquan Smith. We're talking about Demario Davis, who is still pretty athletic. He's just not a 5'10" ran a 4.5 linebacker.
Like, there's also a difference. I'm trying to think of NFL guys, and my brain doesn't want to, so I'm like immediately going to the NBA. But it's like when talking about athletes and comparing anyone to ever live to like LeBron. It's like, no, his body's just different. Roquan's not that much different than other good athlete linebackers.
No.
Like, there are guys.
Small.
Like,
his body size makes him worse.
Cam Newton was that guy who was just like, that's just a freak. Calvin Johnson, Adrian Peterson. These guys that are just athletes on a level of like, what do you do?
Can I throw out, just because we're bringing it up and I want to prop somebody up, can I throw out somebody at the linebackers position specifically that fits this?
Sure.
Brian Urlacher.
I wouldn't know. I didn't watch enough of Urlacher.
People forget Brian Urlacher was 6'4",
See,
250.
I remember like late career
flat.
Urlacher where he was like kind of bigger and slower.
Yeah.
So I just kind of pictured that for his whole career because he was still great as the bigger and slower guy. But, yeah.
Well, yeah. Listen, 6'4", 258, ran a 4.57 40.
It's not bad.
Not bad. That's fucking unreal.
That's not bad.
That is unreasonable. No one that big should move that fast, on top of having that everything slows down instinctiveness to his game.
Well, I mean, how much did he weigh?
258.
Well, I mean, so 6'4", 258. I mean, Cam was like 11 pounds lighter, which I guess is a big difference, but he was also taller and ran like, what, a 4.3?
Yeah, but again, I'm just talking about specifically for linebackers. Listen, Urlacher was white.
Those are also,
no white boy should move like that.
That's
white
valid
boys
point.
can't be moving
That's valid
like
point.
that.
Also, Cam literally had the nickname Superman for a reason.
Right.
I think that's important.
Also, I'm pretty sure, where was he from? Yeah, Brian Urlacher was a white boy from Washington State.
That's funny.
Like, let the man cook. Even though he was apparently a piece of shit off the field. Let him cook on the field.
But, so, Fred Warner, I feel like me and you have both talked about enough. I really don't care, so we can put Davis at 2.
Yeah. Like I said, Fred Warner is the best linebacker that I've been able to witness their peak in my lifetime. Like, the best linebacker that I've seen play at any point is, I think, Brian Urlacher, but I didn't watch prime Urlacher. I watched the tail end Urlacher that you're talking about, where he was just big white man in the middle who had a nose for the ball.
Yeah.
He wasn't the 4.57 athlete picking off Brett Favre with one hand and scoring touchdowns on fake field goals and shit.
Yeah.
He was just...
How did Brian Urlacher's career go? Am I just like forgetting? Maybe I did watch prime Urlacher. Not really. I watched late end.
Retired in 2012.
Like I started watching in 07, which was the late. That was literally his last great year.
Yeah.
Because after that, he like very much slowed down. Right?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong things here. Hold on.
I was gonna say no.
It was listing like. So the Pro Football Reference is stupid with how it lists stats.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the wrong.
He was still pretty fucking good up until the end.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was a noticeable drop off in athleticism after 2009 where he got hurt. I want to say he hurt his foot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But I'll die on the hill that him and Lance Briggs are the greatest linebacker tandem in NFL history.
You're forgetting about Chad Greenway and Ben Lieber.
Neither of them are Hall of Famers, I fear. Chad, I don't actually know. I don't remember them well.
Lieber is not. Greenway, probably not.
I was going to say, Greenway, I was like, maybe, but I don't know.
Chad Greenway was awesome, but like he really suffers he was the Minnesota guy and never had like crazy numbers, so he will not be.
Yeah.
No, Greenway was sick. That was my linebacker that I grew up with. Which probably explains why I like my kind of smaller coverage guys. Because that was chatty boy.
But yeah, I'll die on the hill that Lance Briggs should be a Hall of Famer.
God, what a year that... How do you not be a Pro Bowler that year? That's insane.
Lance Briggs is one of those guys that, like, he'll be 65 in a wheelchair and they'll induct him, I think.
110 tackles. 15 tackles for loss. Couple picks, couple forced fumbles, not even a Pro Bowler.
Damn.
That's tough. That's rough.
Lance Briggs better.
Nah. I have to say no, just cause.
Because you're racist, you're picking the white guy?
No, I'm picking the Viking.
The white guy?
Don't do that. You know why I'm picking who I'm picking. Don't do that.
The white guy?
No, I'm gonna kill you. You remember when the Vikings had E.J. Henderson and then his fucking... What is that bone in your thigh? My brain, no member. Like your only bone in your thigh. Your one big one.
The thigh bone?
No, it's femur. Because his femur snapped in half and then his little brother took his job.
Oh, I didn't know that happened.
Yeah. EJ was great though.
That was a little early for me to know the lore of the NFL.
Yeah. Because it was EJ and Aaron. I think they're brothers. I really hope they are.
Yeah, maybe.
Now I gotta look it up. Uh-oh.
Uh,
That's wild.
what
Yeah,
is wild?
they were brothers, okay.
Uh,
No, some guy on the Vikings subreddit fucking wait 2 months ago, which is very confusing. This post was from 2 months ago and features Aaron Henderson, who retired a long time ago. Folks don't want to hear this, but as long as the Vikings locker room is filled with nice guys, they ain't gonna win. Attitude reflects leadership, and the Vikes are a nice family-oriented organization, top to bottom. We're too nice to win, apparently. Minnesota nice is a problem. Love that. So remember, kids, if you win a Super Bowl, you're a piece of shit. That's how it works. We lost Miller. Somebody's talking to him or something. Gotcha. Yeah. Insane times. It's the first reply. Yes, because having not so nice guys before has gotten the Vikings so much success. Also, the best team in the NFL's current head coach has a commercial talking about chicken nuggies. Give me some chicken nuggies.
all right. I just wanted to say real quick. I'm looking at Pro Football Reference's Hall of Fame monitor since I'm stuck on this Lance Briggs thing.
Yeah.
They have him grouped with outside linebackers, which is so stupid. Split it into edge and off ball.
He was
not an edge
he was
rusher.
a left outside linebacker his whole career.
Actually, he was a right outside linebacker.
Madden argues the other way.
Well, Madden can suck the whole testicle.
Hey ho.
But anyways, he is ranked as the 30th best linebacker, outside linebacker of all time.
Insane.
Which I think, if you take out the actual edge rushers, he's in like the top 5, which is so funny, and also put him in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, nice. Guess who else is ranked as an outside linebacker?
Who?
Chad Greenway.
Below Lance Briggs, I presume.
Oh yeah, he's 93rd.
Ha.
But that also means nothing to me, because
Also, top 10 linebackers for us in order: Fred Warner, Demario Davis, Roquan Smith, Levante David, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, Quincy Williams, CJ Mosley, and Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton would be higher if not for Big Ouchie.
Big ouchie. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Lieber had a better career than I thought.
Geek, what do you know about Paul Lassie and Tony Fiametta?
Who?
This guy doesn't know.
Miller football. Hold on. Let me click a random team and say a random name because I'm a douchebag also, just like Miller.
Well, these guys are historic Bears fullbacks from my childhood.
Miller football. What do you know about Michael Humanumanawi?
I actually do know who Michael
I know you do.
is. Yeah.
What do you know about Brandon Lloyd, Miller? What do you know about Brandon Lloyd?
Brandon Lloyd was a dog.
The receiver that never was.
Right.
He should have been incredible, but bro finished his career with a Pro Bowl. And an All-Pro too, one time. In 2010 with Denver, that would mean he was getting thrown to by that bum. By that bum. He's a bum.
What bum? There's been a lot of bums in Denver that
Kyle Orton. Kyle Orton, that bum. And then the kind of beginning of Tim Tebow.
Fun fact, did you know Tim Tebow's the only quarterback the Broncos have ever drafted that's won a playoff game for them?
Yeah.
Isn't that's quite comical? I
Yeah,
find that
because
quite
Elway
humorous.
doesn't count as a draft pick
Yeah.
because he was traded on draft night.
Yeah.
Because the Colts, I don't know, wanted the FU of saying we drafted you anyways, even though you said you wouldn't play for us. And then he never played for them anyways, so I don't really know how that changed anything. But, you know, NFL owners and their weird hills they die on.
Yeah. But hey, they've got Bo Nix now.
Look, another quarterback who's not going to win them a playoff game.
Hold on. I wonder, is his full name Bo?
Bosef Nix.
No, it's Bo Chapman Nix.
He does not have a Pro Football Reference page yet.
Oh, Sportskeeda. Hold on, let's see here.
Bo Nix' real name.
Nix was named after his grandfather, not Bo Jackson. Thank you for elaborating on that.
All right.
Oh, it's because it's an Auburn. Did Bo Jackson go to Auburn?
I don't know, man. But
He did.
do we
How
have
about
any
that?
other sports to yap about? Any other things?
Mikal Bridges got traded.
True. Also, since the last time we recorded, the Boston Celtics won the NBA Finals because Minnesota had to get so unlucky to match up with the only team in the playoffs that we were an awful match for, and that's Dallas.
Woo!
Is that a woo? Because now the Celtics have a ring.
Yeah, Jarrett's a Celtics fan.
Yeah, but also it's
My
the
buddy
Celtics.
Andrew's a Celtics
I think
fan.
anything good happening to Boston for the next 200 years is a problem. They've had enough. You can be the
Bill
worst.
Belichick's having a pretty good time.
He's not in Boston anymore, so we don't care.
But he's still associated with them.
No. He's associated with wherever he coaches next.
What if he doesn't coach again?
Then he's associated with free agency.
This guy.
Yeah. No, fuck Boston sports. Fuck Boston fans for, it's been so tough for us. We haven't won a championship in 4 years. I hope every fan of a Boston team never sees another win again. I really do. I hate them all. Not just the men, but the women and the children, too.
This guy. I just want to point out the only two Boston fans I know in real life, one of them is a Boston and Bears fan, and the other one's a Boston and Giants fan. So I think they deserve this one. Those two in particular.
The Giants have won 2 Super Bowls in the last
He wasn't alive for them.
How young are your friends?
He went to high school with me. He's 2 years younger than me.
2011 was not that long ago.
He was alive for that one. I forgot about Eli for a second. Holy shit.
Golly.
He might have been alive for both, but he wasn't conscious.
Don't care.
Conscious.
Don't care. You still brag about your team winning a Super Bowl 30 years before you were born, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, where's your ring?
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm so upset. That's why I hate Boston so much in particular.
Maybe you should just call up the Vikings right now.
Hey, my team, one of my teams should have a bunch of rings, but then they stole my team. The Minneapolis Lakers won a bunch of rings. Actually, most of the Lakers' rings came as a Minnesota team, not an LA team. Bastards.
Yeah, but I don't care about basketball.
I just wish I had something to brag about, but instead I have the worst franchise in sports history,
Here's what you should do. Here's what you should do, right?
Go back in time, make myself a Patriots, Warriors, and Yankees fan?
No, better. Okay, so you're going to get out your phone, pull it out real quick. You're going to get on there, and you're going to call, you have 2 of them, so you can do 2 at the same time. You're going to call the owner of the Vikings, and you're going to call the owner of the Timberwolves. You're going to say, hey, just wanted to call and let you know, you should be better. And then you're going to hang up the phone. And then they're going to go, oh my God, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, they don't.
And then
care.
infinite Super Bowl money glitch.
They don't. I wish it's how that worked, but they don't care. They wouldn't listen to me. I might know something about
I called
ball.
George McCaskey and told him that, and he drafted Caleb Williams, so.
George McCaskey was probably pounding the table for J.J. McCarthy, and you know it.
I don't think George McCaskey's allowed in the room where they make decisions about
He
personnel
was probably
anymore.
pounding the table for Jaden Daniels.
No. I would take him more as a racist.
Right,
than an
that
idiot.
was kind of my thought.
Yeah, no. Apparently, that's why they drafted Trubisky. Allegedly, was because him and Ryan Pace were both against drafting a black quarterback, which worked out in the end because the black quarterback they would have taken was Deshaun Watson. And I'll take mediocre quarterback play over a rapist.
Would he have
Any day.
become that in Chicago, though?
Yes.
Okay. That was supposed to be
I
a shot at
firmly
Houston,
believe so.
but...
No, I think people that are like that are wired a certain way.
Fair enough.
Like, if you... Because with, like... Not to get too philosophical.
I don't know. I try not to think about
specifically-
people like that much.
Specifically when it comes to athletes, I think a lot of it is they're told yes to everything in life.
Fair.
But the first time someone's like, no, they're like, what? What do you mean? And then they freak out and take it anyways. Because they can't, like, I'm not trying to perpetuate like a women are weak stereotype, but like, strongest, most athletic men in the world, the average woman, who's, and that would go the both ways. The strongest, most athletic women in the world, the average man. Like Ronda Rousey, she could do that if she wanted to a lot of men out there.
True.
Like, you know what I mean? But like, that's what happens. They're, especially nowadays where they're getting recruited from like high school, and they start, especially now with fucking, I'm not trying to say NIL is bad, because I think inherently it's a good thing that they're able to make money off their likenesses and stuff. But now you're giving these kids even more like fuel to like, again, you're just telling them yes to everything. They're being handed everything on a silver platter. Yeah, they have to work for it, but it's still being given to them. And then the first time someone tells them no, some of them, they're just wired a certain way that they like snap. I'm going on an incoherent ramble that maybe makes no sense to some people, and this guy is making a rabbit face.
Because in fucking 2021, Justin Jefferson's second year, his 1,600-yard year, he was second team All-Pro. Behind goddamn Debo.
But that was the first year that people were like, have funny running back.
I don't care. Debo's never even been good enough to be a second team All-Pro, and I stand by it.
Justin Jefferson should have run the ball more.
I guess. Also, apparently, people wanted to give votes to Jamar Chase for first team All-Pro that year, which is gross because he was a rookie. So, what I'm what I learn every time I look at awards voting for any sport, for anything ever? All voters are stupid. Yeah, I'm grouping them all together because if one of you is enough... This guy's
generalizing. Get him!
When it comes to voters, yeah, because if one of you is dumb enough to vote for the wrong guy and screw over the whole party, then the whole system's stupid, so I'm out.
Remember when someone gave Justin Fields an MVP vote?
No.
He got one after 2022.
Nice.
He got one MVP vote. He finished, I think it was technically 10th in MVP.
Nice.
Which, like, technically, if we're talking about the player that had the most value to their team, I kind of understand the thought process.
Yeah, if that's what you're...
Because he was their offense.
If that was your idea of life there, then maybe.
Yeah.
What do you know, Miller football?
I know that I'm wearing a shirt with Walter Payton on it, and I think that's pretty fine and dandy.
Let's look at this MVP vote. I don't know if I even can. 2022, Mahomes won it. Yeah, he did finish 10th. He got more vote. Oh, no, he tied in voting. I don't know if he got a first place vote, but he tied in voting with A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, Justin Herbert, Tyreek Hill, Geno Smith, and Tua.
Yeah.
Finished 0.2% lower than Micah Parsons and 0.4% lower than T-Law. Oh, yeah, that was the year that Justin Jefferson should have been, at least in the running, and he didn't even finish top 3 or 4.
Well, because wide receiver
can't
have most value.
I guess not, but I'm sure Joe Burrow could.
What if the real Joe Burrow was the friends we made along the way?
What if the real Joe Burrow was the friends we made? What if the real Run the North was the friends we made when we decided to let Miller do the outro?
Gibbity Riz.
Please give us a real outro.
You want me to do the outro?
Yeah, because it's weird when I do the outro and then do the Miller say something. So you're going to do the outros.
Okay. Well, this has been Run the North. We kind of tailed off there at the end, but we still did our thing and we did it good. We hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below. Helps out us a bunch. I was gonna
helps out us.
Well, see, usually when I do this on my channel, I'm like, helps out the channel a ton. But then in my brain, I was like, this isn't a channel, it's a podcast. But it's a podcast on a channel, so I panicked. But it does help out the channel a ton. Shows your support, shows you care, all that good stuff, and we really do appreciate it. Also leave a like just because I beat Jake and Madden today 56-10, and then he got pissy about it. It got so bad that I was worried about running up the score on him, so I would get like inside the 10, and then I would run a fake field goal where the holder would take it, and then I would just go down immediately to get the ball inside the 5 and then immediately throw an interception. It got pretty rough. Montez Sweat got hurt, and his backup came in and got 4 sacks. It was a rough performance from old Jakey boy.
That's a murder.
I made him fumble on kickoffs twice, and then he still had the gall to continue to run out kicks. And it got to a certain point where I was like, I'm just going to conservative tackle every time because I'm worried if I hit stick him and he fumbles again, he's going to die.
I remember I returned one kick return against you the one time for realsies, and then we played each other late in the season, and I was like, dude, I'm 2 away from the thing. I'll give you 2 whatever touchdowns you want. Just let me have 2 kick returns. And you're like, sick. I was like, sick. Yeah. Kenny Nwangwu, I was going off that year with kick returns, though. Kenny Nwangwu, I think, finished with 13 kick returns.
And now Kenny Nwangwu is forced to play for the Texans with Grayson.
Ew, who did that to my boy?
I'm sorry.
I know. Your boy
This is what happens when you don't join the Madden League.
Well, this is what happens. Why would I have wanted to? Because when I was offered to join, he had already blown up my team.
Well, I mean, we would have had you from the start, but you didn't.
Because Madden sucks. Madden.
That's we'll see about next year. Is going to be better.
I feel like I've been saying that since about Madden 25.
Well, Madden 25 is the new one, silly. There's never been another Madden 25 before.
I'm really mad that they didn't even acknowledge it.
I think they really should have just that they didn't acknowledge it.
I think it would have been so much funnier. Everybody's called everything, Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. They should have just said Madden 25 Part 2 Electric Boogaloo and just had Adrian Peterson and Barry Sanders as the covers.
No, make it
but like no, jersey swap them Vikings Barry.
No, better.
Oh no.
Old Lions fullback Corey Schlesinger. Current Vikings fullback CJ Ham.
There you go.
That's the cover athletes.
I'd be down.
Just make it make the whole game a bit. It's not a real video game. You open it and it just takes you straight to Ultimate Team and you have a 99 overall team and you can't open packs.
This was supposed to be an outro. Bye.
I know.
Well, God damn it. Bye.